Race relations in America and immigration reform have also been major issues during President Obama's years in office. Joining me in studio, Maria Hinojosa, anchor and executive producer of NPR's Latino USA program, and Khalil Muhammad, director of the Schomburg Center in Harlem. I'm going to unbutton my coat for this one. Good to have you both on the program.
Good to be here.
Good to see you. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
Long time. I want to start with the economy and broaden things out a bit. In the circles that you both travel, the people that you meet, talk to, and the stories that you report. Maria, let me come to you on this one first. Connect for me the opposition, kind of the optimism that's expressed by the young woman in Patty's piece with the reality of this slow kind of grinding recovery to this economy and what the future really looks like in this low-wage recovery for young people.
Well, look, you know what? 2016, Tony, I decided, is my year of optimism.
It is. Okay.
Yeah, because I've traveled to all 50 states, plus 2 territories. And I know that we're going through a difficult moment. There are a lot of questions, and there are a lot of issues about who we are, what do we stand for, on top of the economic insecurity.
Right.
But I also feel like the American people, if you will, God, I hate to talk in these big terms, but they are a really good people, and that when they have to choose, they're going to choose to side on the right things, like what we really stand for in this country. So their optimism is real. It is part of who we are as Americans, and I kind of want to own that. On the other hand, I live in Harlem. I see every day people who are coming in to get continuing education at 9 o'clock in the morning. They're coming in to get their GEDs. And I have great admiration for people who are still, believing that they can change their life, do something good. But I also know that I know people who are hitting up against the wall.
Again and again.
Whether they're women who are over 50 who can't find the job, or they're young men who are in their 20s who can't find the job. And this is disheartening. Sometimes I say, the American dream / American nightmare in terms of the economy.
So exactly. And Maria, that brings to me, as I switch gears just a bit, I want to get to this immigration discussion. Because, there are many who will say to you, the president had an opportunity in that first term to pick a big agenda item to go for. And for many, it was a choice between immigration reform and health care. And the president chose health care. In your view, did he make the wrong decision?
It doesn't, in my view, if you're a president.
I'm asking, yeah.
If you're a president that wants to lead, I'm not sure why you have to say it can only be one.
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
So should he have gone for
right?
2 terms, right? If you want 2 terms, you're making a choice.
But here's the risk. The calculation that you hear from others is that he would have lost the House in 2010 with either choice. So
he did lose the House.
And he did lose the House. Right.
So conventional wisdom says if you do something on immigration, there's gonna be a blowback. But actually, this is a perfect segue into the conversation around economy. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's just, from the issue of immigration, forget violations of due process. Let's forget deportations. Let's forget family separation. Let's forget children being torn away from their parents. Let's forget the conditions of the detention centers. Okay, for a second. Let's not.
Okay.
If you only look at the issue of immigration and the fact that we're completely stalled with 11 million undocumented people in the United States, the real argument is economics.
Yes.
If you were to bring these people, quote unquote, up out of the shadows, I mean, in my reporting, I know people who would love to buy a home, love to buy the car, would love to get their kids into the college, right? But they're thinking, I don't know if I can do this right. What if my husband is stopped and deported, and then all of a sudden I'm carrying the weight of the... So there's a whole entire segment of the American economy that is in fact stagnating because of this inability to resolve immigration. And that's not just affecting the immigrants. That's affecting all of us.
I want to get to one. And Maria, there's been a scapegoat. Look, we know that what's happening with gun sales since the president came into office. We know about this dramatic rise in hate groups in the country, and there's been this scapegoating of groups, of blacks, of Hispanics in the country. So what's your critique on race relations in the Obama years?
I'll just say that right now,
Yeah.
at a time when this country knows what it looks like when a black unarmed teenager is shot. We know what that looks like. We know what that fear looks like. We can identify with a mother looking at that and just...
Right.
What we don't know is the fear that we are living right now, today, because as we know, the Obama administration has said that it will go back and do raids to deport women and children who came here seeking for refuge. And so there is a kind of fear right now, Tony.
Yeah.
I was talking to sources before I came on, and they said, you know, people are right now afraid to take their children to school. These are undocumented immigrants. Even undocumented immigrants who came here applying for refugee status that have a good chance of winning their case, these lawyers were telling me they might be afraid to leave their homes to come and finish their cases now. So it's important that we understand that along with everything that is happening today in our country, there are people who are part and parcel of who we are. They're not Latino problem, they're not Mexican problem, they're not Salvadoran problem, it's an American issue. And they are living in a particular kind of fear that in 20 or 30 years, movies will be made about this, about what people are living through today.
Yeah.
And it's our job as journalists to tell that story, to bring that story forth, because we know that this country is a country of
immigrants. You do it really well. You do it really well. I got 30 left. As quickly as I can, let me get it to you, Khalil, first. We know there are plenty of positives. Your biggest disappointment with the president?
Oh, my biggest disappointment is that President Obama could have done more to teach us about the lessons that black people helped to expand the meaning and practice of democracy. Felt like he put us in a box and he said, we're going to be bigger than what you represent. We really help to make democracy meaningful and real in this country as black people. And that's not just black people talk. That's the facts of history in this country. And the president could have celebrated that a lot more.
Maria?
It's sad to say that given what's happening now, probably his legacy will be, in terms of immigrants, the deporter-in-chief. And creating, I hate to say this, a division or a questioning between African-American, Latino, immigrant, white. And again, he could have had a moment to say, this is who we are. And yet, it's sad to, and there are, not to deny from a lot of progress, but this is a moment where we feel a lot more divided, and he had an opportunity.
I really enjoyed every second of that. Khalil Muhammad, he's the director of the Schomburg Center in Harlem, and Maria Hinojosa, my friend, anchor and executive producer of NPR's Latino USA program. Thank you both so much.